Let's understand probability very intuitively.
The theory of probability has many applications in physical science. In quantum mechanics, it has many applications. In 1926, Max Born was first to introduce the concept of probability in quantum mechanics.
There is a very fascinating situation inside an atom. In quantum chemistry or in chemistry, electrons are revolving around the nucleus in a definite orbit. But in quantum physics or in reality, the picture is quite different. You can see in this picture that electrons are appeared in a cloud form. So we must use probability to get the most approximate distribution of the electrons inside the atom. In thermodynamics, it has many applications. To basic quantity pressure and velocity, you cannot observe these individual particles to calculate pressure and velocity. To calculate pressure and velocity, we have to use probability. It would be impossible for us to predict anything about an individual particle of the system. So we must have something which may help us to reach every individual particle by observing the whole system. In everyday life, we use probability in insurance industry, in casino, in environmental regulation, or on a product warranty. We use probability. Few interesting things about probability. Probability is very sophisticated and complete. It has many interesting property and implications. Its applications are much more interesting than other mathematical tools. But if someone asks you what is probability, you may answer this question in a formal way. Like probability is a mathematical tool which helps us to predict the randomness of a system or event. But you cannot feel this definition until you read its historical background. Some types of mathematics are as old as the written world. Geometry and arithmetics are the probably oldest. Arithmetic and geometry are the branches of knowledge that concern aspects of our perception, number and shape that are both abstract and concrete. If you have three birds, for example, and three books, so they are the concrete manifestation of the abstract idea of the number 3, nothing else. So these simple observations have been made by many people living in many different cultures at many different times in our history. But if we surprise ourselves by asking before how many decades our ancestor is actually began to think about all this, our ancestors may have begun to think about geometry and arithmetic almost as soon as they begin to think at all. But probability is different. Unlike geometry and arithmetic, whose origin lie in prehistoric times, probability is a comparatively recent discovery. The theory of probability has its own origin in the Renaissance with the work of two great men, Cardano and Galileo. But their work had little impact on those who lived later. The investigation of probability begins in earnest by two French mathematicians. One is Fermat and Fermat principles, and vice Pascal, which is exactly equivalent to 1 Newton per meter square. And after his name we have Pascal Verger, Pascal calculator, Pascal triangle, and over these 500 years or so, probability has continued to attract many mathematicians of each generation. Probability has seen new light on ordinary and familiar problems. Probability theory enables us to see and think about the world in new ways. If we look into the etymological background of probability theory, we will see two words, probable and probability. And they come from Latin word probabilis, and which means possible or generally approved. And in 18th century, the term chance was also used in the mathematical sense of probability. Now, the term probably is responsible for everything. In everyday life, we are used through with the term probably. We use the test will probably be hard or easy. It will probably rain or snow today. Or
we will probably understand everything in probability. So the term probably has a very special significance. We're trying to calculate the volume of a cone. And a cone has volume 2 centimeter and height is about 21 centimeter, and certainly the volume of the cone is about 88 cubic centimeter. So from this case we have seen that we will not use probability term when we know that everything is certain, is fixed in this case. And more interestingly, according to Pascal, that it is not certain that everything is uncertain.